Your future is watching you. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Right now. It's watching the moments you waste, the chances you delay, the promises you keep breaking to yourself. It's watching every time you say, later, when you know the answer should be, now. And one day, that future will become your present, and it will ask you a painful question: why didn't you start when you had the time? Procrastination doesn't announce itself as failure. It shows up as comfort. As scrolling. As waiting for motivation. As convincing yourself that you'll be more ready tomorrow. But tomorrow is built by what you do today, not by what you plan today. Every small action you avoid is not small at all. It's a direction. When you delay working on your goals, you're actively choosing a version of your life that stays the same. When you avoid discomfort, you're training yourself to stay average. Growth demands effort, and effort demands starting before you feel ready. Your future self doesn't need excuses. It needs evidence. Evidence that you showed up when it was hard. Evidence that you chose discipline over distraction. Evidence that you acted even when motivation was nowhere to be found. Think about this: the life you admire, the confidence you want, the success you imagine, none of it belongs to people who wait. It belongs to people who moved first and figured it out later. Progress has never been about perfection. It has always been about consistency. Stop negotiating with your comfort. Stop protecting habits that are stealing your time. The pain of discipline lasts minutes, but the pain of regret lasts years. And regret is far heavier than effort. Start small if you must, but start today. One action. One decision. One step forward. Because right now, somewhere in the future, there's a version of you hoping you don't quit, hoping you don't delay, hoping you finally decide to act. Your future self is being shaped right now, in the quiet, ordinary moments that seem too small to matter. The choices you make today become the habits you repeat tomorrow, and those habits slowly turn into the life you wake up to. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are building clarity. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you are building strength. The future is not created by sudden breakthroughs but by repeated decisions that train your mind to move forward even when it feels inconvenient. What you practice in private becomes what you perform in public. This means that the discipline you build when no one is watching becomes the confidence you carry when the world finally pays attention. The future version of you is shaped less by what you wish for and more by what you are willing to practice daily, especially when progress feels invisible and effort feels unrewarded. Procrastination is rarely about laziness, it is often about fear wearing a softer mask. It hides behind the need for perfect timing, the illusion of preparation, and the comfort of delay. Each postponed task sends a quiet message to the mind that discomfort should be avoided, and over time, this message grows into a habit of hesitation. The longer action is delayed, the heavier the task feels, and the easier it becomes to protect comfort instead of progress. This silent pattern slowly erodes belief in personal capability, not through one dramatic failure, but through many small withdrawals of effort. Momentum fades, confidence thins, and the mind begins to associate goals with pressure rather than possibility. Reclaiming momentum starts with choosing to act before certainty arrives, to move even when the outcome feels unclear. Action builds clarity, not the other way around, and courage grows through use rather than thought. Comfort feels harmless in the moment, yet it quietly shapes the direction of a life. The mind seeks ease, routine, and familiarity because they reduce effort, but ease repeated too often becomes a cage that limits growth. When comfort is chosen over challenge, potential is left unused, and unused potential slowly turns into regret. Regret does not arrive suddenly, it accumulates in small, forgettable moments when effort was postponed and opportunities were ignored. Each time comfort is protected, resilience weakens, and the ability to face difficulty feels heavier. Growth requires friction, and without friction, strength never develops. The choice to lean into challenge may feel uncomfortable, yet it expands capacity and builds the confidence that comes from knowing difficulty can be faced and managed with steady intention. Small actions seem insignificant because they rarely bring immediate reward, yet their power lies in repetition. A single focused effort may not transform circumstances, but repeated effort reshapes direction. What is practiced daily compounds quietly, turning consistency into a force that reshapes skills, character, and outcomes over time. Small steps taken with intention reduce overwhelm and make progress sustainable. This approach trains patience, strengthens follow-through, and builds trust in personal capability. Each completed action, no matter how modest, reinforces the identity of someone who moves forward rather than waits. Over time, these choices accumulate into momentum that feels natural rather than forced. Momentum changes how challenges are perceived, turning obstacles into signals to adjust rather than reasons to stop. When small actions are chosen consistently, the future begins to reflect the discipline of present choices. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, yet it is a form of self-respect expressed through choice. It is the practice of aligning daily behavior with long-term values rather than short-term comfort. Each disciplined decision trains the mind to tolerate discomfort without retreating, which strengthens the ability to stay present with difficulty. Over time, this practice reshapes identity, turning effort into a natural response rather than a forced act. Discipline also creates emotional stability because it removes constant negotiation with impulse. When the mind no longer debates whether to act, energy is conserved for meaningful progress. This steady alignment between intention and action builds quiet pride that grows from knowing promises to oneself are being honored through consistent follow-through and patient attention. Every delay carries weight because it is not neutral, it leans toward the life that remains unchanged. When action is postponed, the mind learns to protect comfort and avoid uncertainty, and this lesson repeats itself until hesitation becomes familiar. Each delay is a small decision that shapes future behavior, reinforcing patterns of waiting rather than moving. Over time, these patterns influence confidence, shaping how challenges are interpreted and whether opportunities are pursued. Momentum weakens when decisions are deferred, and the path forward feels heavier with each pause. Choosing to act, even imperfectly, interrupts this cycle and restores a sense of agency. Agency grows through use, and the simple act of beginning shifts perception from doubt toward possibility, opening space for learning, adjustment, and steady forward motion. Talent can open doors, but delay can quietly close them before opportunity has time to arrive. Skill without movement remains unused potential, and unused potential fades into doubt over time. When ability is not paired with consistent effort, confidence weakens because the mind learns to separate capability from action. This separation creates a gap between what is possible and what is practiced, and that gap grows wider with each postponed attempt. Consistency narrows this gap by turning ability into habit and intention into behavior. Repeated effort builds reliability, and reliability builds trust in personal capacity. Over time, steady practice reshapes identity into someone who shows up regardless of mood or circumstance. This identity strengthens resilience because challenges are met with routine rather than hesitation, and progress becomes a predictable outcome of regular effort. The moment action begins, direction changes. Waiting for the perfect condition keeps the mind focused on readiness rather than movement, which delays growth and weakens momentum. Action, even when imperfect, creates feedback that refines approach and sharpens understanding. Each step taken provides information about what works and what needs adjustment, turning uncertainty into guidance rather than a barrier. Starting also shifts emotional state, replacing heaviness with engagement and passivity with agency. This shift creates energy, and energy sustains further action, forming a cycle of movement that grows stronger with use. When the first step is taken, the future begins to reorganize around motion rather than intention, and progress becomes a series of small, deliberate choices that accumulate into lasting change.